This is me, a guy from Texas playing in the semifinals of one of the USA's toughest regional Catan tournament, New York City. Now, I've been competing in Catan tournaments for several years now, but I want to challenge myself and play against some of USA's best Catan players.
Alright guys, I made it to New York, and I'm headed to my friend's place. He's going to be housing me for the tournament for the weekend. So we're just leaving the house now to go to the tournament. So yeah, today's gonna be the tournament, and good luck us. Good luck me, not him. I want to win this thing.
Why is New York City so strong? Because of the population density, New York City has some of the best Catan players and some of the toughest competition. It's the same thing for other games like chess. People will move to New York City just because of the chess. It's also a city full of people who work in the tech industry and the medical industry, basically a bunch of nerds. And that is a perfect population for Catan and Catan tournaments.
You want to beat your opponent fast. That said, it's a friendly tournament. So, table 5, Paul Miller, Ronnie Herman, Dana Kravitz, Dylan Liu.
Who do I see if I get slaughtered here today?
Me.
So, with the tournament started, let's look at the board of Game 1 of the tournament. So at this table, I was actually sitting with two crushers. Red, who is a consistent finalist and semifinalist in these New York tournaments, and Orange, who has won one of these tournaments before in 2019. But I didn't know this when entering the game. With that said, I'm placing in the 4th position. In the first position, we have Orange, who picks the 8-3-10 and points to the sheep port. I like this spot because he can still pick the 6-9 or the 8-9 as a second settlement, which works very well. In the second position, Red takes the other strong spot, the 8-10-11. He can have the 6-9 spot with the 3-1 port as a second settlement. In the third position, they decide to take the 4-9-11 or wheat. It looks like a decent spot, but 1, you will lose a 3-1 port as a 6-9 will probably be taken, and 2, there will not be a strong second settlement spot that matches well with their pick. Now, it's my turn as a 4th position. Pause the video if you'd like. I took the 5-6-12 and the 4-5-11, a strong or wheat sheep setup with access to the 3-1 port. The harder part was, where do I point my road? I thought that third position, Blue, could take the 5-8-12, but the 3-4-10 works better with their setup. As second, I thought Red would take the 6-9, getting all 5 resources. And lastly, in the first pick, Orange would take the 8-9, getting all 5 resources. I realized that the 5-8-12 spot might be open. However, there are 2 risks. 1, third position might still just take it. And 2, I will have to race for the spot against Orange, but I can easily lose a race because he has better road building material. So what did I do? Well, I'm a pansy and I didn't want to take risks, so I pointed my road to the desert, but that was a mistake. If I'm wasting my road pointing to the desert, why not just waste it by racing for a strong spot instead? Also, pointing left discourages other players from racing me. I'm quite happy with my setup, but I had a tough game ahead of me. Blue places on the 3-4-10 as I predicted. I could already tell that Blue is going to have a very hard game based on their placements. Now, it's Red's turn, and they place on the 6-9 as I predicted, locking Blue from the 3-1 port. Finally, we have Orange. They place on the 8-9, and they have a decision. Do they point the road left or right?
Place to go.
Yeah, that's where it has you pinned. But this is where it gets interesting, right?
I gotta do it. Do I gotta do it?
You can beat him.
No, because
Well, do you want to make some kind of like agreement, like a gentleman's agreement?
Already a gentleman's agreement,
I don't think
Ronnie?
it works.
If
What are
go-
you proposing?
If you put your road here, I will forego even attempting that spot. You can have it.
Well, you have no wood, so
Yeah, you're not gonna
wood's
win.
not
You're not gonna
exciting
win there
for you.
anyways.
well,
you sort of
I mean,
dictate
I'm
Ronnie
just
here
saying,
because you
like,
can go here to
you
here.
know,
I know.
If you want to fight over here, we'll fight for it. I'm saying if you go that way, that I won't. You know.
No, I understand that, but
I understand if you don't want to. I get it.
it's just that going for a 6 is so
It's appealing.
appealing.
Alright, good luck all.
All right.
Let's do it.
The early game went pretty smoothly. I was faced with a hard choice with an early city. The sheep wheat upgrade or the ore brick. I decided to city up the ore. Red is able to win the race to the 6-9 spot, and Orange decided to abandon that plan and go for the sheep port instead. Orange eventually got to settle on a crazy strong center spot, which boosted his game a lot. And the problem was that I was still getting robbed. While I was sitting at trash production, Orange, who wasn't getting robbed enough, was running away with the game. In the last orbit, Orange was at 9 points and had a bunch of cards at hand. Meanwhile, at 6 points, I could either 4-for-1 my ore or hold. Now 4-for-1ing is a losing play, but gets me another point which is crucial for tiebreakers. However, holding my cards gives me a much better chance to actually win. But there might not be a next turn as orange can win.
I'll tell you, if I don't roll a 7, I win.
I decided to simply concede the game and build a settlement for 7 points total.
He gets the point. All right. Maybe if a 6 rolls, you get a lot of cards.
I think you just
Good game for me. That's 7 I rolled last turn.
8.
Ah.
Yeah, game 1 just ended, and tough loss. Very tough table. Very, very tough table. I got robbed when I shouldn't have. What could he have done to win?
I could have possibly used my Monopoly last turn, but I don't know. I don't think there was enough. Was there wood in the game? 2, maybe 1. I don't know. I don't
It's already started? Okay.
Table 2, DJ, Dylan, and Max. This is the 3-player game.
What the fuck? Alright, Max, DJ, how you feeling? How you feeling?
I'm feeling just fine.
You feeling just fine?
I'm feeling just fine.
Are you gonna self-destruct and beat each other to the ground?
Why don't you self-destruct and beat yourself to the ground?
Okay, we'll see.
Round 2 begins. Typically, all tournament games are 4 players. Sometimes you can play a 3-player game if there's an odd number of people at the tournament, and that was my case. A 3-player game is vastly different than a 4-player game. The board is a lot more open, which leads to more expansion spots, so wood brick is a lot stronger. I had to keep this in mind when playing my second round. Red is placing in the first position, and they place on the strong or wheat tile. Now it's me in second position. This is a tough pick. Where would you go? So here was my thought process. With Red's pick, it made it very tough to get any wheat. If you're familiar with my channel at all, you know the saying, no wheat equals defeat. The problem here is that placing on the wheat sucks on this board. All the wheat tiles are low probability spots. There's not that many pips. In general, you want to aim for 10 points of production, but all of the wheat spots are really low production. So I like to say, if you can't get a critical resource, you need to build to it, port for it, or trade for it. Let's try my first option. Can I build to the wheat? Well, if I place on the 3, 8, 9, I might be able to get on the 6 wheat, but it's risky. I have to calculate if anyone will place there. However, since it's a 3-player game and it's a tough pick, I'm not sure at all where my opponents will place. I think the wheat spot I'm pointed to is just too low production and doesn't really match well with many other spots. I was thinking third position would choose something like the 8, 4, 10 and the 6, 9, 3, using the starting wood brick to cut off and get to the 5 wheat spot very quickly. So I place my settlements on the 3, 8, 9 and I hope. He places on the 6, 9, 3 and the 8, 10, 11, leaving me with an amazing second spot of the 3, 5, 8 and a nice expansion spot on the 6 wheat. Then Red places on the 8, 4, 11, trying to utilize that sheep port. So my risky gamble paid off and it's going to set me up to win. I have 2 amazing expansion spots that are open, the 4, 5, 11 and the 6, 3, 2. In 3-player games, wood brick is a lot stronger as you have access to strong expansion spots which can make you nearly unblockable. I was able to expand quickly, getting onto the 6 wheat, solving my wheat problem. And then I was able to get 3 ore and 2 wheat for a city. I had to make a decision though of what to city. And I decided the 358 was better as an ore would help me get a second city even faster. The plan worked, and I was able to quickly get another city, but this time on the 389. However, my opponents were quite strong in this game, and they wouldn't go down without a fight. They started to collude and work together to take me down. Red started to challenge me for the longest road and cut back to the 5812. And Red was constantly buying development cards, getting knights, and robbing me. They were doing everything right, taking away largest army and longest road and forcing me to build to 10 points. All while constantly robbing me. However, I drew the road building card, was able to take the longest road and still win the game.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
I have 8.
9, 10.
Yep.
Just finished my game, second game, and what happened was it was a 3-player game, so it's actually very, very different from 4-player games, and able to take it down. So about right now, I'm in 7th place.
How Catan tournaments work is that there are 3 rounds for the prelims. The top 16 scores from those prelims advance to the semifinals.
With a quote-unquote another solid game, the host, Andrew, said that I should be able to be in that 2nd or 3rd place, the seed.
The top 16 are ranked by first the number of wins, the number of points you got for your games for tiebreakers, and then another tiebreaker for some complicated math of point percentage.
Making it out of the semis is actually very difficult since it's a single elimination game and out of 4 players, and that's where it gets really tough. And I think the semis has a lot of variance because it's only a single game. So yeah.
Now it was time for game 3.
Dylan, Carla, El Serpiente, Martin Goldberg.
I'm Carla.
And you're? El Serpiente, but you can call me Spencer.
I sat down at the table and started analyzing the board. I was in the first position and immediately 2 spots jumped out at me, the 489 and the 256. Both of these spots were high producing in ore and wheat. However, I realized that if I go on the 4-8-9, there's a high chance the 6-4 would be open when it comes back to me. Now it's a second position, and they take the 2-5-6, which I like a lot. As a third pick, Orange, they take the 4-5-6 double brick. This isn't a bad spot, but some of the problems they're going to face is an overproduction of brick, and you're going to need access to strong wood or a port to utilize all of that brick. Now, in the fourth position, they choose the 8-10 and the 5-9. Generally, you don't want to be placing on the coast in the fourth position, especially doing it twice. I'm not too sure what was going on, but I suspect that they're probably a newer player. With this placement, it changes the game significantly. Third position places on the sheep wheat. Green in the second position now places on the 3-8-11, getting all 5 resources with the starting road and gets strong sheep to play a strong or wheat sheep development card game. Now it's my turn, and I have a pretty tough call. Do I still take the 4-6 for strong or wheat sheep, or do I take a strong wood brick spot? After agonizing about this, I came to the conclusion that because there's so much open space on the board, the 3-5-9 is better. I start the game with the free road with the intention to expand onto more wood and brick.
Roll the dice. Roll an 8.
4. Within the first few turns of the game, I'm able to trade my way into a quick city. The 4-9-8 upgrade is fantastic, giving me more ore and wheat, allowing for even more cities. With a few more good rolls, I'm close to a city. Now I only need 1 ore to upgrade to a city.
7. You wanna trade me wood for ore? And I won't rob you.
I gotta negotiate there or something.
I'm just trying to give you an out so I don't rob you, since I think I have to rob you here.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I think you're the only person with ore.
It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Wow. Very lucky.
With 2 cities on the board, I'm running away with the game. And notice how I got the first city through trading, because I knew my opponents needed wood. And I got the second city through tracking, because I knew my opponent had ore. This is the power of card tracking, something that Catan players often use. And one of the easiest ways to do this is by practicing online through Colonist.io. Personally, I find a general trend of people who play online are much better Catan players. And I think that's because of 3 reasons. 1, online games are all automated and set up for you, so it allows you to play a much higher volume of games, which leads to a lot more experienced players. 2, you get to play with your friends or strangers, so you have a much bigger variety of people who you play with. And with different people, there's a lot of different play styles, which leads to a lot more experience. And lastly, because of 1 and 2, people are just generally better online, which leads to a lot tougher competition, which makes people have to improve even more to beat that competition. Go check out Colonist.io in the link down below to play online Catan 100% free. And if you're wondering how Colonist.io makes money, they make money through ads and by people purchasing their expansion packs. So, thank you to Colonist.io for sponsoring this video. So, Red is able to keep up my production by upgrading the 6-5-10. But he's going to have a problem of getting too much brick that he can't do anything with. He needs to hustle for wood or get on a port quick. So, in knowing this, I decided to help out Red and trade them 2 wood. But this also lets me settle on the 3-1 port, and then I use the port for another settlement on the 6-3-11. At this point, I'm kind of crushing the game. To stop me, the table needs to work together by robbing me, taking away my longest road, and taking away the largest army. Red drops 2 roads on the 3-4-10, which is a powerful spot. It gets double ore and wheat and cranks out cities at a very fast pace. However, it's probably still not fast enough to catch up to me. Then, Green gets a city on the 2-5-6, which really boosts her development card game and her city game too. Then on the same turn, she offers another trade. I try to snipe this trade, avoiding giving Red more wood, but she takes it with Red anyways, and Green is able to drop a second city on the same turn. In 1 turn, Green went from doing nothing to nearly matching my production. When it gets to my turn,
What if I give you brick ore for wheat sheep? Does that sound fair? Do you still get a dev card out of this? And you get brick. Okay.
and with that, I'm able to drop a settlement and 2 more roads. I'm now sitting at 7 points, and with a single road and settlement, I can win the game as the longest road is still up for grabs. But the game quickly gets close. Green builds a settlement and a road herself, putting her at 8 points with the longest road. She has 2 played knights already, and with 1 more knight card, she wins the game. But on my turn,
3.
I look at my hand and I realize I have the win.
I'm gonna drop a settlement. 11. Drop a road here.
Nice.
It's 10. Game.
Good game.
Good game, y'all. Thank you. Yeah, you were really close. You were really close. All right, so I just finished my 3rd game over here. I'm gonna walk out in the open. I crushed it early. It was pretty nice. But with the 2nd win, I for sure qualify now for semis. So I look forward to that. Day 2 semis. Yeah, I'm gonna be in for sure. End of day 1 today. A lot of games at Catan. And yeah, so far my thoughts on New York. I really like it. I really like it. There's an energy here. introduce yourself.
Shazzy.
And he is New York champion. He can't play because he already won. You want to introduce yourself, DJ?
Yeah, I'm DJ. That's it.
Alright, so this is the way it works. Congrats, real quick, and a round of applause to you guys. Nice job. So the way that the semifinals and finals works, there are 4 tables set up with identical boards, obviously. The way that the tables will work is depending on your seating.
You get to choose what position you place.
Alright. Good luck, everyone.
So, I'm shown the board and I only have 2 minutes to decide what position I want to place. What would you do on this board? Under time pressure, I decided to choose first position. This is a safe choice as I'm able to get strong ore and wheat, the 369. However, some of the problems with this is that I'm going to lose my 3-to-1 port, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get a strong second settlement that allows me to get good sheep. Also, my wheat and ore spots are going to be constantly blocked by the robber, and it's going to be a hard game ahead of me. So, I choose the first position, and I place my settlement on the 369. So, Orange decides to take the 4610 ore wheat. I think this is a great second choice, as it leaves you pretty flexible, as high ore wheat, high production, and access to great ports. Now, Red takes the 5611 getting wheat along with wood and brick. They point the road to the 3-to-1 port. The race to the 3-to-1 port is a race that I'm probably gonna lose, unless I do some heavy trading. Now, placing fourth, Blue decides to take the 495 and the 61011. Blue's setup is quite strong. They get strong wood and brick and potentially expand to the more powerful 510. Now, it's back to Orange's turn, and they go on the 3910 and point the road greedily to the 41011. This is a very risky pick but has a huge reward. If Orange can expand to the 41011, it's another 7 points of production. He gets double wheat, double ore, sheep, and wood and brick. He can also compete for longest road as he has a strong longest road network, along with having access to strong ports. However, I'm placing next, and I have the option to take it away. Here's my dilemma. If I take the 41011, it's a mediocre kind of bad setup. I'm most likely going to lose my 3-to-1 port and have too much brick clogging my hand. I'm also gonna have my ore constantly blocked. I really don't like that setup. On the other hand, if I don't take the spot, I'm leaving Orange with an amazing expansion spot. I'm stuck in a really tough bind. This is one of my most important games in the tournament, and my next choice is critical. What would you do in this situation? If you want, pause the video and comment below. I'm curious to hear what you would do. So, I like to say, when stuck between 2 terrible options, make a third option that's much better. I decided to talk to Orange and make a creative deal, and using the fact that I won't go in the 41011 as leverage for a strong future trade. I'll talk about that more in a video up here.
What's your offer if I go here? I need like something pretty ridiculous, I think.
Which is?
A brick and 2 future ores.
So finally, the deal negotiations are settled. I won't go on the 31011, and instead I'll place on the 238, leaving Orange a super strong expansion spot. And he would offer me 2 future ores, but the ore deal was cancelled once I get my first city. 2 future bricks, but one of them is cancelled if I roll a 3, and also a non-block, which means Orange's first robber can't be on me. So with that convoluted deal finished, the game begins. I'm able to quickly use the future bricks that Orange owes me to settle on the 6 wheat, and win the race to the 3-to-1 port. But Orange is also able to negotiate his way and quickly settle on the 31011 himself. Now going ahead a little bit, I'm ready to cash in my second future ore with Orange, but he's a good player in tracking. He calls me out.
You have a city in hand. I said I'll help you get second and third ore for your first city.
Yeah,
Yes.
I heard that too. I heard that too. I just don't have I don't have it down there. That's the thing.
I know, but you have.
What if I settle instead? If I settle, will you trade me the between then?
Sure.
We come to terms and agree that if I settle instead of building a city, he still owes me the future ore. So with that, I decide instead of building a city, I'll settle on the 8 sheep and then buy a dev card instead. I'm gambling that the 6 wheat will roll in my hand as my hand is full of ore right now. I end up getting a year of plenty, so the next orbit, I'm able to use that year of plenty for 2 wheat and get a city. Now, my setup is fully working. I've got a 3-to-1 port, I've got a strong city on ore wheat, and I've got access to sheep. However, Orange is close to me in production as he drops a city under the 3-9-10. But it doesn't matter. My setup is starting to look very strong and I'm starting to get robbed a lot. My opponents are starting to buy development cards and getting knights to block me. One of the biggest weaknesses of my setup is that I'm very blockable. I only have 1 ore hex, 1 wheat hex, and 1 sheep hex. And in this setup, I only have 3 strong numbers, the 6, the 8, and the 9. If those start to run cold and the robs keep coming my way, the early lead I have could quickly disappear. Unfortunately, that's starting to happen. The table is starting to feed dev cards to Blue in order to have her secure the largest army and for her to keep on robbing me. However, in this position, my opponents feel like they're forced to rob me. I'm sitting at 5 points with 2 down development cards. From their point of view, if I drop a road and take the longest road, then I'm gonna be at 7 points. And if I drop a settlement, then I'm gonna be at 8 points. And then if those 2 down dev cards are victory points, then I win the game. They're very afraid that I'm gonna win the game with this. However, my dev cards in this position are actually Monopoly and Road Building. And in this position, I made the consistent, crucial mistake of not playing my road building. Even though it seems counterintuitive, Taking the longest road with road building would make me get robbed a lot less, as now I'm showing 7 points with only 1 down dev card, instead of the alternative sitting at 5 points with the potential to win the game but quickly building to 10 points. Now after a good session of me getting gang robbed and blocked, blue drops the city. They are getting awfully close. They are at 7 points on longest road, still hasn't been taken.
We keep getting robbed here.
And I still get robbed.
Wait, that's wait.
No, like,
Whatever.
review your death cards. Play them.
Honestly,
There they are.
doesn't matter. That's longest road. I win.
Oh! Dana!
Hey guys, I just lost my semis finals, and I'm really devastated right now. Yeah, I played like a dumbass. I suck at this game.
What did you have?
Yeah.
Dana! Was it a
I don't have this.
MVP? Dana!
It was definitely in the bag. I could have just taken road with the road building, and then I'm stuck at 7 with the mono, and that's I mean it's very very winnable from that point on, right? So that's yeah, end of New York, man. This fucking sucks. Sorry guys. I wish I could win it. I'm just not good enough. I need to practice more. I think one of my dreams is to become the U.S. champion and represent U.S. But that's really, I guess, tough to do. It's very tough. It's a very tough dream. But, you know, I like to tell myself, what's the point of a dream if you're not going to flirt with it just a little bit, right?